looks like Disney cares about their video games again because they need money. So, with that said,
because we need money so
they
bad.
do. They do. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Geek Branch podcast. I don't know if you watched that last episode or listened to that last episode, but go do it now. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe and click that like button so you can watch more of our insanity. And while you're at it, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to my two fellow co-hosts. First and foremost, Walken, who's not looking at a screen. And then the one, the only, Novell.
How's it going, folks? Happy to see you.
So what are we talking about right now? Well, what we're going to talk about is the recent news from this week about Lucasfilm Games. That's right. Lucasfilm Games is a new studio made by none other than Lucasfilms, focusing on their games again. So no, it's not LucasArts games, you know, because that was what it used to be and it was amazing, and we were going to get Star Wars 1313 and we did not get that. I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, so now it looks like Disney cares about their video games again because they need money. So with that said,
Because we need money so bad.
They do.
We broke ass as hell.
AF.
That's what happens when you buy like 60 million different companies, but
And then let certain people run them.
exactly, to the ground, including EA running their video games to the ground. Now, don't get me wrong. I know all these people are going to come out of nowhere and they're going to say, well, what about Jedi Fallen Order? What about Squadrons? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, they got a few right at the end when already pissed off Disney. Let's not forget about what they did with Battlefront 2 at the beginning. They finally fixed it, but it was only because of the major backlash. I mean, it was so bad that freaking European Parliament got involved over the stupid loot box system. But we don't have to get into that. Everybody knows that. It's a worn out story. What we're focusing on now is the future. So they announced, I think it was basically Monday.
Battle Pass.
Yeah, Battle Pass. Okay.
I mean, in true EA fashion, the very first thing that the studio released before their very first game was a battle pass.
It was a Battle Pass.
for the studio.
Yeah, but no, you're right. You're
Literally,
right.
That's literally where the downfall, in my opinion. That's literally when I stopped playing it. The moment I saw it, I was like, no, delete.
Yep. $24.99 for our studio launch battle pass. Stick with us for a year and you'll see our first game.
You're right. But we're looking at the future, not the faults of how terrible EA was. Even though they're still terrible to this day, we're looking at what Lucasfilm Games is up to. So their first announcement after that was that none other than the people who's been screwing up a lot lately, Bethesda, is making a Indiana Jones game. Now, the one thing I will say, the studio who is making it is Machine Games, which has made the last few Wolfenstein games, which have been great. The mainline Wolfenstein games.
Okay. Because I was about to...
No, I know what you're about. I know.
I was about to ask the same freaking
I don't know.
question.
I'm sure they made Youngblood too. Don't quote me on that. Let me look it up. I'll see real quick so that way no one can say, oh, well, Tim, you should have known which one that made it.
Yeah, right.
Dun, dun, dun,
Because I might have to reach across the screen and tell you what for if you think that last game was good.
No, I didn't even bother even playing that. Okay, so was Machine Games Arcane Studio? It was both of them, Machine Games and Arcane Studio. So I don't know. Hopefully the directors that were in charge of that one is not in charge of the Indiana Jones game. That's all I'm saying. Other than that, Machine Games typically has a pretty good track record.
If there's not a damn boulder that is chasing me in that game, I will be very upset.
If there is not a save your hat mechanic,
I will lose my shit. There's a save hat mechanic in Red Dead Redemption. There needs to be a save hat. It needs to be in this Indiana Jones game.
It is the most important aspect. It's more important than swinging from point A to point B using your handy dandy whip. It's the save your hat mechanic. Also, weight sensitive puzzles.
So two things. First of all, Xbox is finally getting their Uncharted game, so that's nice. And then second of all, Harrison Ford or a model of Harrison Ford better be involved in some form of fashion. It better not be like them doing like a knockoff look to him.
He's
or
Sully.
doing a new character.
He's Sully. He's like, Sully. Teach him the ways.
I'm just saying, it's Indiana Jones, so it has to be Harrison Ford's character. So you got to at least, use his character model. I'm not saying that you spend like $50 million to have a cranky old Harrison Ford do all the voice lines.
The first thing you're going to see is literally him coming into a door full of all these beautiful antiquities and just literally go, Chewie, world. Literally, I will lose my fucking shit. If that's the shit he pulls.
With all of this recent announcement with this, the thing that I'm saddened by is how a few months ago Sean Connery passed away, because my favorite Indiana Jones, hands down, is the one Raiders of the Lost Ark with Indiana Jones and Sean Connery. That was the right one, right?
No, that is actually the
Crusaders. My bad, Crusaders. People in the comment section are gonna crucify me and be like, "I thought you said that was your favorite one.
Okay.
Why are you getting the name wrong?"
My favorite part in that movie is every time he goes, Junior!
Junior!
With the full accent,
Yeah.
man. It kills me. Dude,
The perfect
that
Sean
was good.
Connery Scottish accent.
Junior.
Junior. Anyways, so Bethesda's making it. It's being made by Machine Games. My assumption is then you actually are probably going, when you play it, it's not going to be in third-person mode. It's going to be in first-person mode. Because that's typically what they do.
Do I get to have like a turnaround like mode when I'm looking behind me to see if that boulder's coming after me?
I mean, I don't know. I would assume that you get to at least see the little bill of the hat,
I need my boulder. I need it.
You need your whip.
If we can't get it as a game mechanic, it at least needs to be a cutscene.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least a cutscene. Even trailer. I don't care if it's a trailer at this point.
It will be nice to have a game that can use the Indiana Jones song, because it is pretty epic.
Yeah.
Bum, ba, bum, bum,
I will mod
bum, ba, bum,
it and make it happen if
bum,
I have
ba, bum,
to.
bum. I mean, they're going to use it. It's made
brand
by
name.
them. Yeah, it's
Yes.
brand name. It's not Uncharted, which Uncharted's amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Release date on it?
No release date. It's nowhere near ready.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, we're not gonna see any of this stuff from the studio probably.
It's
till
probably
like
another
2024.
Yeah, I was gonna say
2025.
another 4 years probably, which is fine. At least we know that they're finally doing stuff, one, without EA, and two, actually doing stuff. Because let's be honest, EA had that contract, like 6 years?
It did
Yes.
nothing.
Right.
didn't
They
do
they
anything.
made a bare bones Battlefront 1. They made the catastrophe that was Battlefront 2 until they fixed it. It's fun now. I will say it's fun now. I'm not telling you
So fun. On PlayStation,
the old one.
the old one.
Yeah.
Oh man,
My
Battlefront, the
But that's a
old
different-
Battlefront
that's a
2 is fun
different
too.
Don't care.
Yeah.
That's
Playing
a different
it-
age of video games.
Playing the Battlefront 2 on the PSP was actually a blast.
Was Star
I mean, I
Wars,
played the other ones too, but it was a little different.
Was Star Wars: The Force Unleashed still under the same premise? Like, was it the same people? Was it LucasArts or was it under?
It was still LucasArts was still around then.
Yeah.
I don't know who developed. I don't know if it was LucasArts with another studio or what, but
I remember
Force
seeing
Unleashed
that,
was fun.
That weird,
I mean,
yellow.
I love Starkiller.
That
Yeah,
yellow animation dude that you saw in that in Nintendo 64 pod racing.
Okay,
guy.
I know. Yeah,
So-
that was the LucasArts.
Okay, so he was with
logo.
LucasArts, and I loved those games. Those.
I mean,
were
they
great.
didn't just make Star Wars games. They made that Hidden Monkey Island and
Yeah.
a couple of other things. Yeah,
I mean, they contributed to a lot of our quality childhood
yeah,
recreational time. LucasArts is always going to have a place in our hearts.
yes. So it's encouraging to see it back. So I mean, technically it's under a different name, but still, at least they're
back in spirit.
back in spirit. They're showing effort again, because after they announced that, the following day they announced a open world Star Wars game made by, this is another studio that is questionable. It's another big one, but I would much rather it be over there than EA. It's Ubisoft, and it's Ubisoft Massive, which is known for making Division 1 and 2.
What did you say?
Ubisoft Massive.
Ubisoft?
Ubisoft.
I have never heard it.
I
am a redneck.
Ubisoft?
I'm literally a redneck. I just say Ubisoft. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
weird.
Ubisoft. Yeah.
I'm a degenerate.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
I'm sorry. My
I'm trying to make
illiteracy-
Keith Guillermo.
My illiteracy is like befounding all of you.
trying to-
At least you're not like some of those people from the Appalachians. I can only imagine, which is Ubisoft. I'm like, oh, What was that?
Apparently, you don't pronounce appellations as appellations over there. They get pissed off at you if you pronounce it that way.
Appellation.
There's the people that say Ubisoft.
I don't. I'm just saying. For whatever reason, there was this episode on TV at work, and they interviewed this guy, and he was like, "No one calls it appellations up in here. We call it Appalachians, or I don't know, something stupid."
See, that's my point.
Appalachians.
I'm like,
Something stupid, you
the
know?
accent is just so wild. I'm just like, I can't possibly understand how you arrived at this pronunciation. But okay.
Just why not, you know?
But we're off subject on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay.
Open world, Star Wars, RPG, or action game?
I believe they left that open-ended.
Of course. Jesus.
I mean, I would hope for an open RPG, because if that's the... I mean... Okay, BioWare was the one that made all the Knights of the Old Republic games, which were fantastic. That was the one thing from EA that was, like, top-notch, but that was way back in the day.
That was before BioWare was part of EA.
Was it?
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, but no, they weren't part of EA, but they were still their publisher. They weren't owned by them.
Okay, yeah, that's my point. I was like,
They weren't owned by them.
Isn't Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the MMO is technically done by both BioWare and EA.
Yeah, right, because the original games was before BioWare Montreal even existed.
Yes.
So but that the thing with EA, okay, the thing that you have to understand, when they buy a studio, they give them like 2 to 4 years to where they actually let them do whatever they want and make great games, and then they start screwing everything up.
Yeah, by turning everything into a microtransaction engine.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, getting a little off track. With the new Star Wars game, it's not inferred whether it's going to be kind of a Knights of the Old Republic, or if it's going to be like the game that we were supposed to get from Amy Hennig from EA, which don't even get me started on that. That was going to be a great game too. But, I mean, at least they're looking to be more ambitious than what was being done over at EA. Because anything that was somewhat ambitious, they canceled. Because let's be honest, that Rogue Squadron game, a lot of people think that's fun, but it's a simple game in comparison to what they could do. I mean, in my opinion, that's just them kind of like looking at games that were done by Star Wars before and just kind of like, okay, we're going to do this again.
Well, I mean, let's be honest here, 100%. EA produces mechanically simple games.
Yes. I mean, that's just them. But don't get me wrong, their old Battlefield 3 was a lot of fun, or Battlefield Bad Company 2 was a lot of fun. But
my God, Battlefield Bad Company.
Yeah, I love that. A lot of people love that game.
One.
Yeah,
I loved being able to take down a wall with a drill.
The other one that a lot of people liked was what was it? The one set in World War II or World War One. I can't remember what.
So the newest ones are World War One.
No, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about where it was a $20 game that you got on your PS3.
Oh!
It was like 1942 or 1943 or something.
Yeah, 1942,
Yeah, that one was a blast. It was simple. It was simple. But it was, sometimes simple is good.
Kind of like that game, Heroes and Generals almost.
I mean, let's be honest here, guys.
Heroes and Generals is way more complex.
We're not dissing simplicity, because I'll tell you right now that we could all sit down and go and play Goldeneye.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and that is the simplest shooter in existence. But we could totally sit back and play that.
GoldenEye and the Time Splitters games, man, those were my.
You
never played Time?
No,
oh my God!
I'm sorry.
All right, when the new Time Splitters come out, if it's good, then we'll play it together.
Yeah. I was not allowed to play a shooter at that time. The only time I was able to play a shooter was when I went to my cousin's house and we played.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, literally. My parents were weird on certain stuff too. Like I couldn't play Lord of the Rings.
I played Banjo-Kazooie, dog.
I had to
that was my shit.
I had to.
I just wanted to be, open there with that. We're not dissing simple games, okay? It's just we're not being pretentious.
No, not at all.
I play Minecraft. Don't worry.
Trust me, we're not the Last of Us Part 2 is so extraordinary. It's just because your mind couldn't contain how great the story was. We're not one of those, okay?
Yeah. Let's not be snobs. We're just gamers.
Yeah, we're just gamers. All right, we're just one of those.
Fuck you.
I thumb my nose at you.
Sir, this is a duel. How about you?
With that being said, Lucasfilm Games did say that they are planning to make more announcements throughout the year. They have plenty of other games they have in the works. So this is the part where I'm going to check with y'all. What game would you want made out from Lucasfilm? games.
Dang, you go first, man.
Man, please God, give me a CRPG. That's all I want.
You want to bring a CRPG into? I mean, what was that one that's from like forever ago? Galaxy of whatever, Empire at War.
Empire.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes,
I
Empire.
was gonna let you finish.
Yeah, it took me a second, but I remember. Yeah, Empire at War. That's been a hot minute.
That's actually very funny you mentioned that. The last stream that I did on Twitch a couple days ago, I was debating on doing Empire at War or Age of Empires 2. Literally, those were the two I was debating on. So I was like, Age of Empires 2. Nobody's played that in a hot minute. Fuck it.
Hop in on it.
Dude, I had a blast.
Well, it's also because you looked up an algorithm.
I blame you. It's like, oh my god, dude! Like you were talking so much mad about bringing in Shelby Cobras, really, and they messed with me in chat, and I accidentally pulled them in.
I told you.
Literally, they're like, "I typed this into chat." I was like, "Okay," typed it in. It's like, "Oh, Shelby Cobra has arrived."
I told you.
I was like, "What the hell is this?" And like, I've already got like military men with swords and military men with archery, and I just
there's
had
no
my
way you're
first
gonna lose
fisherman.
now. You got the
Literally,
Shelby
my
Cobras
one
with their
Shelby
machine
Cobra
guns.
took down a whole empire. I was like, "Hey,
That's what I used to do all the time as a kid.
that's Ford tough."
I would put it on the highest difficulty settings with as many enemies as possible, and I would put in the cheat code for the Shelby Cobra. I mean, yes, it was very easy and very lazy of me, but it was so funny just seeing them mow down so many enemies.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
But that Age of Empire game was so much fun. But like getting back to Star Wars,
Empire at War.
Empire at War, dude, I played the dog crap out of that game. But there was one that was before that was just made exactly like Age of Empires.
Do you remember the name of it?
If I had my Steam login over here.
Is that the one with the battle? You do the battle on Hoth in that game at the very beginning?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
I think so. But literally, it's made the exact same way. You had, the same type of setup. There was no global war, though, in space. You had spaceships.
It was only a land battle, yeah.
It was a land battle, but you had spacecrafts that would be in the air that couldn't be attacked sometimes.
And this was a Star Wars game.
Yeah, it was
Star Wars RTS would probably give you what you
go to RTS, and I guarantee you would find it like almost immediately. Okay. It's
Galactic Battleground.
So
my brother-in-law has this game.
I have that on my Steam right now, and that game right there, my God, I played the
It still carries, man. Some things
so
just like they never get old. I can literally load back up KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, do some basic mods for like quality of life, and just play the entire series again.
Dude, like the mods that you can do right now in KOTOR is ridiculous.
Yep.
Like you could make them literally next gen sometimes if you wanted to.
With the graphic enhancements, you can also like add things that just didn't exist in the game, but
Yeah.
modeled in. Like Kylo Ren's lightsaber is a mod that you can have.
Yep.
So you can have Riven running around with Kylo Ren's lightsaber.
It's crazy what you can do nowadays. Now, like when it comes to SWTOR, the MMO, I am actually really endowed in that game. I've played that game a hot minute. I've played so many expansions.
Well, all three of us have played it in the past. At
Now,
various points.
I love it and I hate it at the same time.
Well, first off, the game being an MMORPG is something I've never enjoyed. But the storytelling, if there was a way,
It's still got a great story.
way to just run through the entire story for that game, it's one of the best RPG storylines ever. Especially if you play like strange things, like a light side Sith. Being a light side Sith user in SWTOR is amazing.
It's the coolest
Hey,
thing.
the big thing with that is, with the MMO, it makes it to where people actually like playing classes other than Jedi or Sith.
Exactly, but here's the problem that I have with SWTOR is the fact that it's a great storytelling game, but a horrible MMORPG.
Oh yeah,
like
it is mechanically.
it is
unsound.
literally.
I mean that's why it's not nearly as popular anymore.
It's literally. It's hard for you to be able to play the game with other people. It's a game that you're meant to play by yourself.
To literally just play through the story.
Yeah,
and
to play through the story.
100% honest.
They've updated it though to where you kind of can now. Like literally, you can do the instances and stuff, and the raids you kind of have to have a group with, but you don't have to have a big one now. But like the amount of work that you have to do in order to actually form a group is no longer there.
Yeah, see, for me, the thing that I would do if it was possible was form a 4-man band and then just skip everything. Like literally ignore all the combat and just go to every instance of actual dialogue and RPG, because it feels like you're playing D&D, or Star Wars Saga was the tabletop for Star Wars. And
Yeah, Dane has DM'd that, and I've played with him. He's done a droid-only campaign. You could only play a droid.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've done it for Sith, I've done it for Jedi, but I love the Star Wars tabletop RPG. But that's another story for another day. The reason why I want a CRPG though. So with SWTOR though, I love the fact that you got to do the dialogue interactions.
Oh my! He talked back.
Yeah, right. And your own allies can interject, and you can literally just have a cutscene, a custom cutscene.
Here's the thing, this is what gets me every time. I would think I'm reading something that sounds just like okay, and it comes off really dickish.
Yeah,
like
no, they have the what is the name of that game? Dragon Age 2 effect, or Mass Effect 3, where they have a little text bubble, a blurb or Fallout 4 that tells you sort of what your character's going to say,
and
but
then it does not come up.
accurately summarize the tone or the length of what you're going to say.
Like half the time when I'm actually listening to that guy, the character that you create, or the female or the male character that you create, literally when you're listening to them talk, I have to actually sit there and think, okay, they're gonna say this sarcastically, facetiously, or like seriously. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna say this. So I'm just gonna go with like a neutral choice here.
Right. You know, I can't tell you the number of times that the Sith character in SWTOR, you give them something that you feel is going to be biting, like, you know, oh, he's going to talk down to this person because I'm a Sith and I'm in charge, and he just kills them. Like there's no option. It doesn't say that at the end of this action, draw your lightsaber and stab somebody or force lightning them, but your character will do it. I'm like, you have to tell me. You have to tell me before I make this dialogue choice. My character's going to
just shish kebab my master because he said, "Hey, cut off my arm," and I was like, "Nah, fuck you."
Yeah, but no, that game is great. Look, I'm gonna just do a recommendation before we get back on subject. If you guys have done nothing else in the SWTOR Star Wars RPG canon, just go and play through the story.
My God.
Like, put it on its easiest difficulty, make it as brain dead as possible, and just play through the awesome story that came with SWTOR.
Let's kind of get back to that.
Yeah.
What
games you would want?
Yeah, what games you would want though?
I mean,
he wants that CRPG.
I want a CRPG. I wouldn't mind another RTS.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying that we wouldn't mind a new Knights of the Old Republic.
And since we just got done having a long conversation,
but that wouldn't happen.
We should just get another Star Wars MMORPG with better
Galaxies, bro.
Yeah, Galaxy's coming back.
Mechanics.
Yeah, Galaxy's coming back.
What? Star Wars Galaxies is coming back.
From
No. I'm just saying
Oh,
that would be a great
you
thing.
literally got my hopes up, man. Why would you do that?
I never got to get into Galaxies.
Really? Was it
Yeah.
before your time, I guess?
I just wasn't like, I didn't know of its existence
We're not saying-
until
Literally-
I mean, I
literally-
didn't know about its existence until the servers were ending.
The hardship and the percentage of you becoming a Jedi in that game was next to none. Like, it was almost impossible for you to become a Jedi.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing. It made it worthwhile, you know, when you
There
became
was a way
one.
where people thought you could make your attributes a certain way and you would become it, but what it really was the actual GMs would choose certain characters and then they would choose certain attributes randomly just to make it like
nearly impossible for you to luck into.
Yeah, like,
and then when you were creating your character, they gave you races that had a higher chance of being a Jedi, but it's like, did this extra 3% really come into play?
Yeah.
Dude, that game was fantastic, mind-blowingly awesome. And
what did you make when you were in there? Do you remember?
I
remember what I made to this day. I was a male Twi'lek. It's the guys with the long ass ears. And at one point, I just had 2 blasters going with me, right? But I ended up just like kind of turning into slave in the end. I don't know how.
I know my very first character for the longest time was a standard Imperial, and I was waiting for the longest time for them to bring in a certain race, the Gendai. to hop over to the Gendai. If you remember Clone Wars, Dirge, the
Oh!
guy in the giant armor
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the tentacle monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if they ever did bring it or not. I think the server ended before they brought the Gendai race as a player.
So we want to see an RTS. We want to see a better MMO.
Yeah. And there's one for me that I want. There's one that I want to see and one I expect to see.
Okay.
I want a new Jedi Academy game.
Ooh.
Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy game.
Yeah.
Those were a lot of fun.
Those were fun.
I mean,
and you could hawk that at kids really easy.
yes. I mean, you could to us when we were kids
I love
because
the
it came out
sword
when we were
mechanic.
kids. Yes, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then the one I totally expect. I mean, if it doesn't happen, I don't know, but it has to be some sort of bounty hunter game.
Oh,
It's gonna happen.
God, yes.
With the popularity of the Mandalorian.
It
Yes.
has to happen now.
Maybe they say it's too late, but maybe we'll get that Star Wars 1313 game
From
back.
this studio.
I mean, that studio doesn't exist anymore, but maybe they can get some of the old developers back somehow. I mean, we've seen it happen before,
I mean,
or
it
at
feels
least,
like it's been
or at
too
least a
long.
spiritual successor at the very least.
Yeah, they might adopt some concepts like
Right.
the concept art and some of the storytelling or storyboards, but it's been so long I just can't see that game.
It was a
revives.
long time ago, but regardless, I mean, if they do the bounty hunter game, I hope they don't do like we're gonna make the Mandalorian game. I hope they make their own original story. You know what I mean?
And one of the
And-
things that we can do is choose to be a Mandalorian.
I want
Yeah.
it to be dark. I want it to be like severely
Underworld.
dark. Underworld, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Black-
perfect
we-
name
we've
of the
been
game. Star
asking-
Wars Underworld.
Yeah, I mean, was that a movie or a game? That was,
1313?
no, I'm saying the Underworld setting. Was that a movie that they were planning, or was that also just the game?
They were working on an Underworld movie a long
Right,
time
that was
ago.
going to be filled with rogues and scoundrels.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just the game. I thought there was also like the ideal of a Star Wars movie set with that.
Yeah.
you know.
I'm pretty sure they had a writer that was trying to work on it and everything. But
Because you dip your
that was
toe
before Disney bought.
That's a pink.
Right.
Yeah.
You dip your toe into Solo. Solo was the one that actually kind of played around with the Underworld.
Well,
of
so
Star
did
Wars.
the prequel trilogy
Well, yeah, that's
with
true as well.
with Obi-Wan.
Clone Wars as well, yeah. Also touched on it too, but it never really gets stuck around very long, you
No.
know. So we sit there like the Coruscant Underworld, for instance, which is literally the city underneath the crust of the planet Coruscant.
Well, we're gonna get more of the Underworld feel with Boba Fett series with the Book of Boba Fett.
About the,
Yeah, but he's taken a Hut world. He took Jabba's world.
Yeah, he took Jabba's world, but it's gonna involve the Underworld. You know, I mean, Jabba is very much connected to
I want
the
to see more
Underworld.
about Crimson Dawn. That's what I could remember. Sorry.
Crimson Dawn.
I want to see
Yeah.
more about Crimson Dawn, like so much. Like I saw so little of it in SWTOR and a smidget of it in KOTOR.
Yeah.
And then of course in like the TV shows and the movie, you saw little bits of it. Han Solo was probably Solo was the only one that you really truly saw a little bit more of Crimson Dawn because of the whole Crimson Dawn versus Infamous.
Yeah.
And the other one that I know won't ever get made, but it would be funny if they did do it, a remake, complete from the ground up remake of Shadows of the Empire. Yeah, a lot of people don't know about Shadows of the Empire. Shadows of the Empire was a game that had basically a generic knockoff of Han Solo. And
Oh yeah, just that random rogue.
Yeah.
He's just a like a.
Oh
yeah. With the moment he said Han Solo knockoff, I remember that's literally what
his
the
name
protagonist.
his name is Dash Rendar. Yeah, that's his name.
Name really runs off the tongue.
Yeah.
Runda.
Yeah, like they had books, they had a whole bunch of stuff involved with it. Like it was technically supposed to be canon. And it actually sold a whole bunch. It actually sold really well back in those days. It came out during the N64 days.
That's probably why I don't know.
Yeah, dude, there's so much good stuff that can come from Star Wars content.
Yeah.
Action games, RPGs, strategy games, adventure games. There's so much that we can do. Space simulators, just
Dating sims.
maybe.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Maybe.
VR chat's a crazy world right now.
I mean, you can't technically do like. I'll put it to you like this: Sword or the MMORPG doesn't really have a romance system, but if you had added one to it, I would have been, all on that. There really isn't one. It's not an actual system. It's not a game mechanic.
My girl's gonna die for me. She's gonna die for me, apparently.
I know, but it's not an actual game mechanic. There was no affection system.
I have affection with my robot. It's gonna say, "Hey, I'll take this one for you." That's a little bit close, but I'm not gonna take it to the cantina and have fun with them.
It's nowhere near a mechanical dating sim. But if they do add a romance system into a Star Wars RPG, though,
you want to see some dong? Is that what you want to see?
No, I don't need it to go like Mass Effect levels. I need it.
You mean Cyberpunk levels?
Oh, Cyberpunk levels are
Oh
way.
my god!
I mean, that's way above the pale for that. No.
Yeah, they actually had to put a patch to where they showed less dildos.
Are you?
Yes.
Yes, but dude, first off, dildos are ubiquitous in Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
They're furniture, statues.
Let's not get sidetracked on
in
Cyberpunk.
the refrigerators.
I mean, I would not be surprised. You could literally get a dildo sword. I just want to point out to you that Cyberpunk took that and ran with it. It's like, what's the one thing that the future needs? Dildos. Everyone needs dildos.
Saints Row did the same thing, man. They had a big old dildo purple bat, man. They were swinging around.
Yeah. Saints Row 3.
Hey. Yeah. Hey, you know what that lady would say from WandaVision? She'd say, "That's what my husband needs to goose me with."
Okay. All right.
I'm out.
And for that reason, I'm out.
All right. Yeah, I think we should all exit screen left. But all in all, though, there's so much potential with the Star Wars franchise. We can talk to and touch on ages that we've never even seen, like, for instance, the High Republic.
Let's ignore that.
We've never... Wait, what? Ignore the High Republic?
Yeah. I mean, with the books that they have currently, yes, let's ignore that.
Screw that. Don't touch that new nonsense. I'm talking about the actual High Republic from the extended universe. Let's not do that.
But the extended universe one isn't canon anymore, Dane.
Man, who cares? It can be canon again. We literally, Disney has the right in their stupidity to just literally reship the EU back into canon, which is exactly what they're doing.
I mean, they're doing that. I mean, apparently Thrawn did come back in the animated universe, which is canon.
Hold on,
and he's supposed to be live action.
Hold on to Thrawn, please. Keep going.
No, I was just saying, they are bringing back EU stuff. Okay, so there's rumors about Mara Jade coming in too.
So obviously we know about the beautiful setting that was done in Mandalorian. The very end of it was the fact that, or not the very end. I think it was episode 2. No, it was.
What was season 2?
Season 2
with the one with
what's her name?
Ahsoka
Tano. Literally, she was looking for Thrawn. Correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, she's
looking for Thrawn.
Her whole series is going to be about her looking for Thrawn.
It's her looking for Thrawn. The question is, who is the actor who's going to play Thrawn?
They're trying to do Robert Downey Jr., which is not who I want. That's not what I want.
You know who I want it to be?
The voice actor?
Yes.
The guy looks like him.
The guy looks just like him.
Mads Mikkelsen's brother, who is Lars Mikkelsen.
Turn him into a Smurf. Turn him into a Smurf.
Paint him blue. Give
him some red contacts, and you're done.
I mean, it's easy. He's got the facial bone structure and everything. It's like, why even question it?
Now, don't get me wrong. I love Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man is my absolute favorite hero of all time. But do not throw him Thrawn. I don't see it. It's not the right casting.
No, and it's nothing to do with, RDJ's lack of being able to act, because that is not the case. It's just that there's a certain look, and there's a certain nuance to the character.
And you have to be able to kind of chew the scene. I'm dead serious about this.
Tom Cruise comes out of nowhere.
Anybody doing
anything. Christ.
Yeah, right.
Tom Cruise will be the end of Star Wars.
But no, anybody doing anything in Star Wars has to be able to embrace a certain degree of camp. The more, the better. I'm talking about Obi-Wan camp. I'm talking about Palpatine camp.
And Ewan McGregor was the perfect example of being able to, harness that camp.
And chew the scene.
Right.
And I'm like,
why, hello there.
General Kenobi. That's the point. You have to be able to play into this. It's almost like it's a game or a joke internally to the actors. It's the same thing with their always having to say pew when they shoot blasters, so they have to recast every shooting scene 30 times because the actors make the little scrunch face and be like pew pew. It's like, that's the point. You have to have fun
Yep.
being in Star Wars.
Yeah, and apparently the people who have the lightsabers always go.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because it just
I mean,
controls you.
they have to tell them to stop. Okay, just to be clear.
Now, I will say here, I'm very guilty. I changed my plug-in USB sounds to that.
Yeah,
Hello there. And then when I unplug it, it's General Kenobi. Literally, that's what it is. Every time I plug it in and plug it out.
yeah.
It is what it
There's
is.
a lot of stuff that they could do right now that EA is not the lead person. Now, don't
Money
get me wrong.
Vampire EA is gone.
Right. I am no. They're not completely gone. They're still going to be working with them, but
Man,
that's
that's fine.
okay as long as it's Jedi Fallen Order or something to that equivalent. Something of that quality. I'm okay with EA being involved as long as it stays with people like Respawn. I'm okay with it then, because Jedi Fallen Order was a happy accident. But again, like I said earlier, it's specifically because EA does this thing where when they buy a studio, they let
give
them
it
do
creative freedom.
yeah, they give them creative freedom, and then all of a sudden they're like, you're not giving us enough money. So then they start pushing them a little bit too much.
To make microtransactions
Yes.
or whatever else they can think of.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of their games don't do microtransactions anymore, except for their sports games, because apparently people who play their soccer games can't figure out that's the same game from last year. But
I mean,
.
it's the Madden trick, as
Yeah.
well as the 2K trick, as well as what's
I
the other
never
big
could
one?
get into that.
Madden,
I couldn't do
FIFA,
it.
2K. There's one.
I'm just
more
saying that I
replication
mentioned
stuff
soccer
every
because
year.
that's the one they make their most money off of.
MLB?
Maybe MLB.
MLB,
baseball's
no,
not
no,
as popular.
NHL?
Baseball is PlayStation's.
Yeah. I can't remember. I just remember that there's
PlayStation
four,
has MLB
and
the
they
show,
they
remember?
literally just clone themselves every year and maybe add one feature,
Yeah, it's just part of it. It's
Kinda
just like
COD. COD is basically generically the same thing. They just add either different story regiments or they add different multiplayer.
they put in more effort than at least I mean, it's been very, very lazy to the point that they've gotten caught to using the same exact assets to one game over to the
But I mean,
next
here's the
for,
thing.
I mean,
for the
COD
sports
copies
win.
maps.
It's
so.
it's a shooter. There's only so much you can do in forms of history, and then in forms of making up stuff to kind of coincide.
Speaking
with
of that, do you think they should do another Battlefront? Should it? I mean, obviously EA messed up on the second one,
Battlefront or
Battlefront.
Okay,
Yeah, Battlefront.
I'm making sure.
No, but,
Should they be allowed to make Battlefront 3 after they try to fix everything in Battlefront 2, or should they give it to someone else?
I mean, if they're going to be taking the best assets from the current Battlefront 2,
I messed it up.
I know, right? And moving it into 3, sure, fine. If they're literally just doing an asset pool and then an upgrade, they can do it. If they're gonna do something new, I don't trust them. I don't want it.
Especially after what they did at the beginning of Battlefront 2. I mean,
Right.
I'll give them.
It's
I'll
gonna
give them
launch into the dirt again.
credit where credit's due.
I would like to see a lot more maps where you didn't get to see period, like areas where they talked about, like if they did one where they got to go to Alderaan, or if they did one where they got to go into the underwater city of Naboo, where you got to see where Jar Jar was, but nobody wants to do anything but kill Jar Jar. That's not the point.
I mean, yeah, go down
the
there with
thing
You
me.
get what I'm saying? Like these maps that you never really got to explore or see would be very nice to be able to do.
It would be interesting for the open world one if they. I mean, No Man's Sky was obviously a nightmare at the beginning, but they did fix a lot. It would be interesting if they took that concept for Star Wars.
That is the most single worst startup game in the world,
Yes.
but the best
Yes.
redemption
arc
game
ever.
in the freaking
Yes.
universe.
See, I'm not that forgiving about it. It's. I still remember how highly sold that game was.
Yes.
How all the nonsense they promised and then just failed to deliver, and I'm still resentful.
You know, they're
about
still
that.
fixing it for free to this day. I mean, they
The
add expansions.
updates are huge.
Yeah.
No. I give the people working on it credit. They have done a marvelous job. But every time the dude who started it sits in front of a camera and
Sean
basically
Murray.
asks me to pretend like I don't remember how the game started, I hate that guy. That's like he sits down, he just pretends like everything's okay.
No, he doesn't. You should see him on Twitter.
Like, okay, well, every time I've seen him on interviews and stuff,
Do you just hate his face? Is that
no.
what-
It's just like he pretends Like, the beginning of that game's launch didn't happen. He doesn't refer to it during interviews.
He does it because he's so embarrassed by it.
I mean,
he feels so terrible about it.
I mean, I got it, but
I'm
it's
not
still...
trying to defend him. I'm just simply saying, like,
he's trying to make up for it.
He's trying to make up for it.
He's trying to make up for it.
He's trying. Like, the fact that he's pushed this much.
Every time I look at him, every time I see him interview, every time I see him give a little talk to a reporter or a journalist, it's just he always seems to be actively ignoring the fact and only talking about it
what's
now.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
because he doesn't want people to keep remembering about what it was. He wants people to see what it is now.
Yeah.
Because he has done a lot of work. I mean, it's not the only way he makes money now is if more new people decide to buy the game. Because it's not like he's making you pay for the expansions. This game's been out for like what 4 years now.
Look, like I said, I'm not completely trashing the dude. It's just that one aspect of
but,
his behavior.
I'm trashing the dude.
Back on track.
Not completely.
Back on track. What I was saying was, it would be interesting to have a Star Wars Explorers game.
So you're talking about like a sandbox game?
Yeah.
Well, this is going back to what the sandbox game could be. It could have exploration aspects.
Yeah.
Once again, it depends on where it is. Like, we could be exploring the Outer Rim.
Yeah. But let's be honest now. It's made by Ubisoft, so that's not what's going to happen.
Obviously, yes, of course. It's going to be a
Assassin's Creed Star Wars.
Yeah. So I've seen so many jokes about that. They said, "Oh, well, it'd be nice to know that apparently there'll be a female and male person that is essentially the same person and just a
they're brothers and sisters too.
Dichotomy of Jedis."
Yeah. All I gotta say about it is this: just for my brain to do the slow melt that Ubisoft always makes.
It was Paul Tassi from Forbes.
Mm.
I know, Paul, you're not going to watch my video, but I made sure to reference you.
Like, I can already tell right now that there's going to be, just because it's an Ubisoft game, functional and fun combat.
Yeah.
It's going to have a really cool mini game that we're all going to like. It's going to be like you like the sailing or the fishing from Black Sails or something like that. There's always this like...
That one was easily probably most people's favorite ones.
Right, but there's going to be a really cool mini game that you're going to like.
But again, this isn't the same studio of Ubisoft that does the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, it's
Creed
massive.
Game. It's massive. Who's made Division 1 and 2?
Right, but see, the problem about Division 1 and 2 is that Division 1 and 2 was really weak on the storytelling front.
They did a lot better with the second one.
That's true, but like it started off really weak. I'm like, you got a premise and then you didn't pad it out at all.
Oh, let me retract. They have made some of the Assassin's Creed games.
Mm-hmm.
Did they make Rogue?
They made apparently Revelations.
Oh, that's the third Ezio game, right? No.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. That's the fourth Ezio game.
Yeah, and then they made Far Cry 3, which in my opinion is probably the strongest Far Cry.
That's the best Far Cry too.
Damn. To me, it's the last and great Far Cry, with the exception of the one that's going to be dropping with.
That one looks good.
With Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. Yeah. His name is always escaping me. Yeah. The actor's name. But I literally just remember him as Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. El Hermano Chicken, yeah. Ding, 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 boo! But there's going to be a lot to be enjoyed, hopefully, with all of this new Star Wars content. Hopefully, we get everything that we want, because we'll give them money. Just make it. Please.
Yeah, just make good games. Just don't no more Battlefront 2. That's the beginning of Battlefront 2.
No more launching.
No more Battlefront 1.
No more acting like EA.
Just please, just give us what we want.
As long as you don't act like EA and you produce at least one of these many ideas we've stated on this podcast.
Okay, Lucasfilm Games, you have to watch our podcast so that way you know how to make a proper game. Because obviously, we know what we're talking about. We've obviously made video games before.
No, we haven't made anything.
I know, I'm being sarcastic.
But we have played for decades. We have a right to give our opinion. We have played. Collectively, there is like almost 70 years of video gaming in this room.
Well, obviously, they should listen to their fans.
One old Herbert trying to play a fucking Star Wars game.
They should listen to their fans. There's a section of Lucasfilms that doesn't listen to their fans, but there's a new section of Lucasfilms that is taking over and winning the war.
The old guard.
The old guard is coming back. and they are going to save Star Wars, and this is a sign of saving Star Wars.
Yeah, I sincerely hope so.
I sincerely hope so too. And I think this was a blast talking about this. I really want to see y'all in these comment sections and tell us what you want out of these games, because I think the community talking more about what they want will give everybody else a good idea what we should get in the future.
Yes.
I mean, because we have a 4 or 5 year wait. Let's give them an
Right.
idea. Let's
Right.
start on something we like.
Devolver Digital apparently wants to make a Star Wars game, so that should be interesting. Taika Waititi's making one of their movies, so why not, right?
Right.
Yes.
Tell us what you want us to do next. Like, let us know what we can do on the next podcast. Let us know what we can do to improve too. Like, if there's something we can do.
Yeah, like me saying too many times.
Yeah, look. We want you to like. We want you to subscribe. We want you to comment. We want you to ding the heart button on whatever podcast station you're listening to. But what you can do for us that would really make us happy is just interact. Show us some suggestions, what you like.
We
what
want
you
this to
don't
be
like.
a community.
Drop us like a Google Store review, even though we're not on it. We're not an app. Just, you know what I'm saying. Do the thing. Yelp.
Do
us.
a Yelp review us. I don't care.
Yeah, we're a restaurant and a hotel at the same time.
We are not abiding by the COVID rules right now.
Wait.
We're not in the same room.
not
What are you
like-
talking about? You don't see
No,
me in
not
this
at all.
camera.
Not at all. Nor the screens you see in the back. But my point being is that we followed quarantine for the entire freaking duration of 2020, and the Geek Branch podcast was basically non-existent. It's time for us to get back into the swing of things and show you guys what's most important, which is having a community
And face masks.
connecting with each other,
Having a conversation with each other.
and,
face masks.
feeling better about ourselves
And
and the
face
things
masks.
that we love.
And face masks.
And a face mask that you're basically using your polo for.
Shut your face.
It's as good as a regular mask, I promise you.
Anyways, guys, I really appreciate y'all watching. I really appreciate you listening. And as I always say, thank you for letting us get to the root of our geek culture with you.